You can never be more than the concept you hold about yourself or the state of consciousness you presently embody. You can't be more than that. If you say, I'm a pig, and then that's your concept of yourself. I'm a pig. Okay? You can't be more. You can't be a cow, a horse, a deer. You're a pig. You're saying you're a pig. You're reconfirming that you're a pig. You believe that you're a pig. You feel you're a pig. You think you're a pig. You're desiring to be a pig. You see, a state of consciousness, all those principles reaffirm that you are a pig. That's your concept of yourself. See? And you can never be more than the concept you hold about yourself. So those of you that aren't having as good a time as you want on the spiritual path, check into what's your concept of yourself? And a state of consciousness is real. If you say it's real, it's real. It's that simple. And someone else would say, well, geez, John Doe, anger isn't real. Well, but it is to the person feeling anger. He said it's real. This is the power you have. How are you going to wield your power? What are you going to confirm as true and right and spiritual? You see, you've got that power. You could say it's the opposite sex. You could say it's a joint. You could say it's making more money. What's real to you? See, you've got that power, but the kale has hijacked your power and turned you into a rock, a boulder. Well, I'm a rock, Gary. Are you blind? Well, yeah, I can see you're a rock, but don't you want to be something more? Well, do I have that freedom and choice, Sri Gary? Why, of course you do. You've got power over all of your states of consciousness. You're the only one that created them, that bought into them, that got sold on them, adopted them. So you really got to examine your own head and see what's bouncing around there in the chambers of your mind and get a grip on it. And if you look, you will see and you'll go, oh my God, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be a rock. Okay. All of this is so simple. I have to, one of my famous lines, it's just so simple. If you want to suntan, spend more time in the sun. If you want to transcend lesser states of consciousness, spend more time in your spiritual exercises. It's so simple. Okay. Other classic Kabbalistic states of consciousness, those which grip the attention the most: I-hood, gender, alcoholism, drug addiction, being a Democrat or Republican. This can grip you, especially with current affairs. You can identify so strongly with being one or the other. You've just gone kale right now. I don't care what it is, independent, Democrat, Republican. I'm not pushing or denouncing any one of them. I am apolitical. But I do declare that all of them are states of consciousness. Loneliness, misery, despair, fear. Now, I could list 2,000, nay, 200,000 different types of attitudes and conditions, and they would all be states of consciousness. But these are the big ones that grip the attention. People are lonely. Why are they lonely? They don't know the Master and they don't know their divine self. They're completely deluded. And being they feel there's nothing inside of me, it all must be out there. And so they go trying to find the perfect husband, the perfect wife. Fat chance. All of these wish to make you less than what you actually are. A state of consciousness is only real if you say it is. Now you can recognize this is supposed to be inspiring because all of this power and responsibility I'm trying to get you to realize and understand it's in your hands. I mean, if you want to be happy, then be happy. Just don't sit there saying, why am I not happy? I mean, get involved. And see, that's what soul transport is. And all these things are available right now. That's what it means when it says that consciousness is the primal cause substance. There's nothing else but consciousness. You can be standing right here and feel great. You can immediately start to cry. If you want, you can throw a temper tantrum. If you want, you can get the bliss of the inner master in radiant form. You can sit still. You can be agitated. Those are all states of consciousness available to you right now. You can enter and embody any one of them you want. Okay. Also understand that one can be frozen and fixated in a state of consciousness for a lifetime or more. Frozen. Like that rock was. I'm a rock. Are you blind? Can't you see my granite and my circular shape and how I'm positioned along the pathway? That's what you call being fixated or frozen on the time track in a state of consciousness. Don't buy that jargon. You're more than a rock. You're more than a pig. You're more than your worst passion of the mind, dear ones. You're more than your worst piece of karma you're made to endure. Rise up. Okay? Here's a metaphor. Always remember that states of consciousness are like clothes. You can put them on or take them off at any time you choose. Okay? The lower worlds are similar to a clothing store. Each garment in the store representing a separate state of consciousness that has already been created. The lower worlds are finished. All these states of consciousness are already created and finished. This is the finished creation. The unfinished is up here. These are all finished states of consciousness. You can embody them at any time you want. Creation is finished. So, the lower worlds are similar to a clothing store, each garment representing a separate state of consciousness that has already been created. The soul wears all these different garments during its sojourn in the lower worlds. Until that time, the soul realizes none of them fit properly. It's like you walk in your clothing store, there's sweaters, pants, socks, underwear, hats, coats, the whole deal, right? Every one of those are a state of consciousness. And through your millions and millions and millions of lifetimes in the lower worlds, you're going to be going into this metaphoric clothing store and putting on this sweater, the big one size fits all, and then you're going to try and get in the real baby sweater and try and get that on, and you're going to, these shoes and these pants and that dress, you're going to put every one of those garments on. And walk, how do I look? And here your skirt's up to here. Or your pants down to here. See? Don't I look nice? Well, but it just doesn't quite, it doesn't feel right, and someone told me it doesn't look quite right. And so you get to experience the ill-fitting nature of the clothes you put on in the clothing store. These are states of consciousness. The soul comes down. It's got to experience all these different states of consciousness to begin to find itself. And so that's why we've been everything. Gay, lesbian, straight. We've been the crook, the saint, the preacher. We've been everything. We've worn all the garments in the clothing store. And you have to go through this long cycle, the duration infinitely long. Until what? Until you realize they don't fit properly. I don't feel comfortable in my anger. I don't feel comfortable being a rock. You see, you got to wise up on that. Eventually, through the Master's divine help, the soul comes to realize that clothes are not needed, for the soul has its own divine wardrobe. Or, in other words, states of consciousness are not needed because the soul is consciousness of itself. This gives new meaning to the phrase, the king has no clothes. And so the divine soul, weary from all false identifications, turns to the master tailor, where fabric and thread are not needed. The only way to escape the illusory clothing store is to turn to the inner master and take refuge in him. All spiritual progress can only spring from your desire to transcend your current level. Understand that. That's why we go into our exercises. Man, I feel wiped out. I'm low on energy. I've lost my inspiration to live. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do the dishes. My kid's harassing me. My lover is just all this stuff that assails one. This is what you want to get rid of. And so all spiritual progress can only spring from your own desire to transcend alcoholism, sexism, lust, anger, greed. You see, I want to be rid of this, Sri Gary. If you don't have that drive, well, you remain the pig or the boulder. So if there's anything harassing you, loved ones, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But I want you to cough up the energy and the point of view like, geez, I want out of this thing. How can I get out? I feel right. I want to be out of this. I want something more levitating, elevating, inspiring. It's right there for you, but see, you're the one that kind of has to get tired of living like the rock or the pig and yearn to get rid of any limited state of consciousness. You see, that's what we're going to try and get rid of. Okay, now you go to the master, and that's the fuel that lets you leave that state of consciousness that you want to get rid of so desperately. The rock that wants to experience self-realization cannot neglect the fact that it's calling itself a rock. It's very simple once you understand it. That rock or boulder has to get into its vitals and understand that it is reconfirming the truth that it is nothing more than a granite rock. Well, how can it ever be any different than a rock if this is its concept of itself? Everything that you need to fully revamp and remake your present state of consciousness exists right in front of you. Everything that you need to revamp and remake your states of consciousness exists right in front of you. You don't have to run to the library. You don't have to run to the ashram. You don't have to run to a seminar. You don't have to run to the bookstore. Everything exists right in front of you. Your attention and will to liberation, along with the two faces of the master, are all you need.